Exhale and lower the arms and the fingertips down to forward bend. Inhale and move the shoulders back. Look in front of you. Make your way back to a plank pose. Exhale and either go back to down dog or child's pose, or bend your elbows and lower down onto your bolster. Inhale and lift up to a cobra pose. Active legs. Push your feet into the floor. Exhale and go back to downward facing dog or child's pose. Step your right knee forward to pigeon preparation pose. Manually adjust your right shin so that it is as parallel as possible to the front edge of the mat. Both hip bones are pointed forward and your right foot is strongly flexed. The back toes are tucked under. It ensures correct pelvis placement. Both heels should be on one line, so walk your back foot more to the right or left if needed. Place your hands next to your hips. On the next exhalation, begin to lower down on your forearms, resting your forehead on the block. Or you can walk your fingertips away from you and keep the arms straight on the floor. Place more weight onto your left hip, moving the right hip back. Breathe deeply, relax, and surrender to the force of gravity. Keep the right foot firmly flexed. It opens the hip. On every inhalation, as you feel your hip pulse zone, mentally repeat, "I can be the mother I want to be," sending the affirmation as a beautiful orange color from your hips to your baby on every exhalation. Make sure the weight is even in between both hips. This pose is a great preparation for birthing. Inhale and walk your fingertips into your body, close to your hips. Exhale and step back to downward facing dog or child's pose. Change sides. Step your left knee forward to pigeon preparation pose. Manually adjust your left shin so that it is as parallel as possible to the front edge of the mat. Both hip bones are pointed forward and your left foot is strongly flexed. The back toes are tucked under. Both heels are on one line. Place your fingertips on the floor next to your hips. On the next exhalation, begin to lower down on your forearms, resting your forehead on the block. Make sure the weight is even in between both hips. You can also walk your fingertips away from you and keep the arms straight. Place more weight onto your right hip, moving the right hip slightly forward and your left hip back. Breathe deeply, relax, and surrender while flexing the left foot actively in order to open the left hip. Pregnancy is about giving up control for something bigger than yourself. On every inhalation, mentally repeat, "I can be the mother I want to be," sending the affirmation as a beautiful orange color from your hips to your baby on every exhalation. Keep flexing the front foot and squeezing the heels towards one another. Breathe and relax into it. Inhale and walk your fingertips into your body close to your hips. Exhale and step back to downward facing dog pose or child's pose. Lower your knees down to the ground. Come to sit down with feet together and knees separated. Take your block on its widest position and squeeze it in between your feet. Place your fingertips behind you, facing away from you. Lift your heart up to the sky and push onto the block with the outside edges of the feet, allowing the knees to fall lower down to the ground. You can close your eyes. This pose is a very clear demonstration of how important it is to first use the muscles to squeeze and establish a grounding base in order to open up more. If you just do the stretching Without the squeezing, birthing may be harder than you want it to be. Breathe through the nose. Exhale and release. Move the block to the side. Turn over to briefly lie down on your back. Bend your knees, placing both feet next to your hips. Feet are parallel to each other and hip width apart. On the inhalation, lift your hips and your torso up. Walk your shoulder blades underneath you towards each other and interlace your fingers under your body. Lift your chest towards your chin. Open your throat. Lift your hips up higher. Hold and breathe. Make sure your thighs are parallel to each other. This pose, called bridge pose, stretches the chest, the neck, and the spine. It calms the brain and helps to alleviate stress. It stimulates abdominal organs, lungs, and thyroid, as it improves digestion. It also reduces anxiety, fatigue, backache, headache, and insomnia, which are common in pregnancy. Exhale and lower your hips down.